Okay, so bacteria would encounter three different barriers if they were to come into our, um, trying to invade us by making initial contact with our skin. So our skin provides our first line of defense with our body's innate immunity. Um, it's innate because we were born with it, we didn't acquire it, we didn't learn it, we're just born with skin. So that provides our body's first line of defense. So if I were to have a bacteria land on a piece of intact skin, my skin is going to be able to protect my cells and be able to evade infection through this physical barrier that it provides. Now, if you were to if a thorn were to prick your finger, or if you were to get a splinter, that would activate your body's secondary response, which is the inflammatory process, or the inflammatory response. And this is a part of the innate immune system as well. This is innate. Again, like I said, we were born with our body being able to do this on its own. So basically what happens whenever the second line of defense is called upon, the histamines in the area, they're around this area of the injury wherever the wound is, and they send out like chemical signals to basically recruit the inflammatory components, or the immune components of inflammatory response. So what they then do is they work to vasodilate, so that these immune components can come into the area and fill it with fluid and work to get rid of whatever bacteria is in the area causing this infection. That's why whenever you have an infection from a cut or anything like that, that's why it gets inflamed. It's basically your body doing work and sending in extra fluid to try to clear your body of the bacteria. This is especially important with phagocytosis, and that's essentially eating of this unwanted bacteria in the body by another cell, and it is also accompanied by macrophages and neutrophils. And that is the secondary defense mechanism. And then our third is known as our adaptive immune response. And that starts with an antigen coming into our body's environment, which this is only possible if it gets past the inflammatory response too. So we've got our skin, the inflammatory response, and after that, if it's still coming at us, our body can sense this antigen and it'll interact with an antigen presenting cell. That cell will then carry it to that will basically carry it to the T helper cell. It'll activate the T helper cells, and those cells will activate cytotoxic T cells, and they will also activate B cells. So the cytotoxic T cells are going to work to cause immediate death of the infected cells. And what the B cells they do is they work to create antibodies to not be infected by the cell in the future, or by the bacteria. So they are going to work to they're going to create plasma cells, which then create antibodies, and then they also create memory B cells, which again, it helps the immune response remember that specific antigen. So if there were to be another exposure to it, the immunity system, or the immune response would be really quick, really fast, very aggressive, very efficient. So those are the three barriers: the skin, the immunity response, or the inflammation response, the skin, the inflammatory response, and then the response of the T cells and the B cells, of the antigen presenting cell, and all of that leading to the death of the infected cells and the memory against it for the future, as well as further antibodies to help you fight them.